Hello, welcome back to Slam Technologies. Once again, this is Dr. IT, aka Sam. Here, I want to today walk you through the process of creating Active Directory users and adding groups as well. And so without wasting time, let's get started. The first thing that we are going to do today is we are going to open our virtual machine. So let's get started. So I have server 2019. I click start on this. And then I'm going to log into the server 2019. I'll go ahead and click input, highlight keyboard, insert, Control-Alt-Delete. And then I'm going to log into my domain controller. Of course, you have to have a domain controller. If you don't know how to promote a server to domain controller, watch the previous video and get the understanding of that. And so I'm going to now log back into my domain controller and domain name server, and then I will be able to create groups in this respect. And so as it's opening up, let's insert it, and then we will be able to see our system. So here I'm entering my password. Now, having said that, we are going to create groups and users. So we will create groups, and then we're going to add Active Directory users. And then we will also look into the privilege account. And so let's go into our server here. On this server, I'm going to scroll down and go to the start, and I'm going to open up the server manager. Once I open the server manager here, I'm going to go to the right upper corner here, and there is an option for tools. So I'm selecting tools. And now select Active Directory users and computers. In this Active Directory users and computers, let's look for one or two examples within Active Directory users and computers. So for here, I'll see that my Active Directory opens up. Here is my server, server.local. Expand it, and then on here, I'm going to click on users. Now, first of all, let's start with groups. Having said that, we are going to do groups, then we do Active Directory users. And so we will start this first. So here is the users. So you right-click the users. Now, first of all, click the users so that you know what is inside the user account. And I right-click the users. Once I right-click the user, I can now go and select new, and then highlight group. And in here, how many users or how many users group do you want to create? In here, I'm going to call one sales, and I'll say, okay. Now I'm going to look for the sales that I created. So this is a sales group, and I'm going to now name it sales. And I click OK. I'm going to also create another group here, and I'm going to call this accounting. So I will again right-click users, go to new and group. Now accounting. So let's call it accounts. And I'm going to look for accounts, double click, and I'm going to call this accounts. And I'm going to create one final group called IT, new group. And I'll call this IT again. And I'm going to double click the IT group. And then I'm going to give it a description. Now, the reason why I created the description is so that I can identify the group, in any respect that I need this, so that it becomes very much easy for me to identify when I'm looking for the description of the group. And so now that I've created the groups, you realize creating the groups was very easy and straightforward. What you do is you right-click the users, and then you go to new, and then you can go to group and create a group. In that same method, we are going to use that to create a group users and put those users in the groups that we have created. And so here, so for example, you are working for a bank, right? There's an accounting department, there is an IT department, and there's a sales department. You definitely will belong to maybe one of those areas. If you're an IT person that you are hired, you want to belong to the IT group. So let's go ahead and just do this here. So I right-click on the users, and then I'll go to new. Let's create one person, which we can call them John Smith. So here I have user, and then I have new, and I have user. So I click user, and I'm going to fill in John Smith. This is where naming convention plays a major role. So you make sure the management understand that you are going to use J. Smith rather, or you can do John.Smith and whatever. And so in here, I'm going to go to next, and then I will give the password, leave the password so that the user, use a conventional password so the user can go in and change it at any time. So here, I'll call it any password, change me now. Same thing, I'll repeat a password. And now I can just go ahead and go to next, finish it. And now John Smith is created. Now, who do we put John, or where do you think we should put John? So let me double click John here, and I'll call John as an IT. So I'll call John Smith as part of the IT. So I apply, and then if you see the member of, this is where I will assign the IT group to John. What I gave here is just a description. When I go into the member of, then the policy applies. So I'll go to member of. And then I'm going to now select IT. And then I go check names. And here, IT is selected. I click OK, apply, and I hit OK. Now John is created. Now, to create another person in the IT group is simple, giving him the same access, authorized access. If you are not giving the same authorized access, please do not copy. But here, I'm giving the next person the same access. So that person I'm going to copy. So what I did here is right-click on John Smith name, and I say copy, right? I'm calling this, let's say I'm calling this John Adams, right? Of course, two Johns in the same group, that is fine. John Adams, John J. Adams, that's very, very interesting. John J. Adams, so JJ, JJJ, John, JJ Adams, John J. Adams. So, I have John Adams, and then the username is going to be J. Adams. Now in here, I'll go to next, and same thing applies. So this gives the user access. So, if the user needs to change the password, all he does once he logs in with a conventional password that I give out, and he can change it within the organization. So, and then I'll go ahead and just go to next, finish, and John Adams is created. I double click John Adams' name, and I will just give him the description IT. Now, if you go into the member of, you will realize that the IT has already been assigned to him as a member of the IT group. All right, so that is how you create users. Let's do one more example, or maybe a couple of examples for the rest of the group. And so in here, I'll go to users, right-click users, right? And then go to new, and then I'm going to user. Now in this user, I'm going to call this one Mary James. Now, Mary James will have a conventional username as M. James. And now I'm going to go to next here and now same password. And now we can just go ahead and then click finish on that. So Mary James has been created successfully. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give her the description and then we can move forward. So let's say Mary James belongs to an accounts group. So let's do accounts. And then I can just go ahead and apply, go to member of. And here the account has not applied because it's the first account we are creating. So I'll go to add and I can just do account. And I check the name and it comes up here. Now, for example, if you look for the name and it doesn't come out, let's say you do SC instead of doing ACC, you check it, it's not coming. So what you can do is you go back into, the location here, or what you can do is you can cancel it from here and just go to advanced. When you get to advanced, you can now go to find now. And then in here, you see an account. It's selected over here. And then, so I delete the old information that I tried adding and it didn't work. And so now Mary James is now part of the accounting group. And so this is where Mary James belongs. Now I created another group. Let's go ahead and add another group to Mary. So I copy Mary credentials, and then I'm going to call this one James Doe. So James Doe is over here. I'll go ahead and just give James Doe, J Doe, right? And then I will select the next and then give it the password. Now you always want to make sure the password conforms. And now I just go ahead and just go to next and finish. Now, if I go here, James Doe, double click here and I go to member of, you see that the account has applied to the account. Now I'm going to go back to general and then I'm selecting the description and I'll go and say accounts. And that's pretty much it, right? Now, one of the areas that I told you I will look into is the privilege account. Now, when we talk about privilege, when you first install the server comes with a privilege account, which is this particular account, right? And so administrator account here. So I select the privilege account, double click the privilege account here, and then you can see this is the member of the privilege. So this is the user account. So I'm going to create a user here. So what this one? Right click the user account and then copy. Now the privilege account is an administrator account. So we always want a privilege account user use than using the administrator account. So here I'm going to call this one Tony. I'm going to call this Tony, and then I'm going to call this Clark. So Tony Clark is a member of the administrative group, so T Clark. And I'll go to next. Now what this one? You see that because it's it's a privilege account, it's saying the password never expires. But we don't want that. We want to change the password so that Tony can go in and change his own password. Let's go ahead and create a temporary password for Tony. And so here I have created Tony's account. And so, let's do it again. And then I can go ahead and now finish Tony's account. Now, with the Tony's account, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just give him a description as administrator. Now, the reason why we create a privilege account or administrator account is so that the user can be identified in case something goes wrong or something is not right within the company. So it's very important. We have to always make sure we use the privileged account rather than connecting to any other accounts. All right, this brings me to the end of accounts creation. I hope this has been informative to you, and I thank you for joining.